What percent of the Earth is each layer? Well, as you'll recall, percents are part-to-whole ratios converted to parts out of 100. So I've got all these parts. You know, the part that's the crust is 25 miles. The part that's the mantle is 1,800 miles. Part that's the outer core is 1,400 miles. And the part that is the inner core is 800 miles. So that's all my parts. I'm going to need the whole, however, which is easy to find, but I don't have it. So if I had the entire depth of these layers, they would be, still the last answer, 25 plus 1,800 plus 1,400, 100 plus 800 adds up to 4,025 miles-ish of depth to the Earth. Usually here it just rounded to about 4,000. So 4,025. So that's the whole, right? So when we set up these ratios, they're part to whole and part to whole. So if you recall, that's how we set that up, right? We do part. So like if I want to start with the crust is 25 out of the 4,025. And then the other ratio is out of 100 always, and we're looking for the percent, so we don't have that. What percent is it? So when I set up the second ratio here, it'll be, we don't know what percent, so I'll do, I guess, P out of 100. So if instead of being 4,000-ish miles deep, the Earth was 100 miles deep, how many of those miles would be crust? As you can, it is not gonna be many at all. So let's see, 4,025 to 100. What am I gonna divide by? 4,025 divided by 100. That's a difference of 40 and 2,500. So as I convert here, this is dividing by 40 and 2,500. And so that's what I'm going to do up here as well. Divide by, the big divide by 40 and 2,500. And I know what you're thinking to yourself. I can't divide 25 by 40. Yes, you can. It's just going to be small. It's not even going to be 1% of the Earth is crust. Not even. Which makes sense, right? It's teeny, 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 teeny. It's not even 1/100th. It's not even 1%. So let's see what it is. So that is 25 divided by 40 and 2,500. Really, really, whoop, I didn't do that right. I know it's not 1,000%. Let me try that again. 25 divided by 40 and 2,500. That's more reasonable. That's less than 1%. That is a mega number. I'm going to round that maybe to 2 decimal spots and say that it is, the crust is about not even 1%. 62/100ths of a percent is crust. Very, very small. The crust is not much whatsoever. I think this is the eraser. Oh, I still need that actually. I don't need to erase that. So all I have to do now, I really set up the same ratio for all these other ones, except instead of being 25 out of 4,025, the mantle is just a different numerator, right? So that was the crust, and I can just change this numerator to, oh, that's not doing what I want it to do. Hang on. I just have to scribble this out, I guess. And now I'm just doing really the same problem with a different numerator. So instead of 25 out of 4,025, the mantle is 1,800 out of 4,025. And then all the math's the same. I'm still going to divide by 40 and 2,500. Still going to divide by 40 and 2,500. I just divide that. So now this is going to be a lot. This is going to be a large percent. 1,800 divided by 40 and 2,500. 44, more than 44, less than 45%. Almost half the Earth is mantle. It's a very, 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 very thick layer. So I'll just round it to 44 and 7200ths, let's say. Big layer, 44, almost half the Earth is mantle. It's really, really, really big. So now I just do the same thing with 1400. Instead of 1800, it's 1400. Still going to be a lot. Still a very large layer. The outer core, rather, inner crust. I don't even know what that means. That's a thing that came out of my mouth. That doesn't mean anything. The outer core, which is real, unlike the inner crust, is 1400 divided by 40 and 2500ths. So it's 34, almost 35% of the Earth. 34 and 78. I'm just rounding. If you rounded more or less, that's okay. Percent. And then the remaining part is the inner core. It is 800 miles. It's going to be quite a bit smaller, but still a lot. Still a substantial portion of the Earth is inner core. 800 divided by 40 and 2500ths means the inner core is about almost 20%. 19 and 88, call it hundredths percent. 19 and 88 decimal percent. So there you go. So really what comes out of this to me is like the crust is like hardly any. Not even 1% of the Earth's crust. The mantle is most of it, almost half. And then the core combined is also quite big. But this is really, I think, the big takeaway. Look how much is mantle and look how much is crust. That's what I think doing some math really sheds light on when you look at the portions of the Earth. So I hope doing this math did some of that for you. Did kind of say, wow, you know, using math really did kind of bring to life some of the different thicknesses rather than just listing them like we did yesterday. Now it's really like, whoa, I really think about like what part of the Earth is each layer. And it may be surprising how much it is. So I hope you learned a little something today. Hope it was a nice review of some ratios and percents. And I hope you understand the Earth a little bit better.